Good morning. Just so you know, I've not yet started my vacation, although it may look like it. Actually, where I am right now is at our church, the Church of the Incarnation. You know, it never ceases to amaze me to realize how blessed we are as a community to be in a place like this, in a location such as this. It's a beautiful piece of property. It is a calling that we all have to be in this neighborhood, to be present, to make a difference in some manner. And I've often said to those who will listen, if we're not making a difference in some way, we should get out of the way. Sorry. So I want to share with you this morning the property and the space that we have that sadly few of us have had the opportunity to enjoy over this past 16 months or so. When I was reflecting on my reflection today, it occurred to me in reading our gospel reading from Mark, the 5th chapter of Mark, that this is where Jesus spent his time. Jesus spent his time in the neighborhoods. Jesus spent his time meeting people, engaging with people, moving around, traveling. In this particular case today, he crossed the Sea of Galilee for the probably 4th time in very short order. Jesus had been in Galilee, meeting in the synagogues and then moving out into the communities, into strange areas where people did not know of him, into Gentile territory. He met, he healed, he taught, he acted with compassion, he embraced, he made himself present to all. And that is what we as the body of Christ are called to, is to meet with, to be in the neighborhood, to act with compassion, to embrace those who are lonely, desperate, sick, marginalized. Our call as Christian people is to be the body of Christ in the world today. In our gospel reading this morning, Jesus is crossed back across the Sea of Galilee, and one of the leaders of the synagogue, Jairus, is desperate because his young daughter is dying. And as Jesus is trying to make his way through the crowds, the throngs of people around him who are desperate for something in life, for hope, for healing, for new beginnings, have turned to him to seek those things. And Jairus, in his desperation, asks Jesus to come and lay hands on his daughter. And as Jesus is making his way to see his daughter, he's encountered by a woman who has been ill for many, many years, for 12 years. She also is desperate. She reaches out, she touches the hem of his garment. Jesus feels the power, his healing power, being released from his body. And he feels that the woman is healed in that moment. In the midst of this, the woman is embarrassed because she has taken risks to be there and to feel Jesus. She's taking risks out of her vulnerability. She's persevered. She's put her faith and trust in God that all will be well if she can just find God in this person of Christ. She is healed through this risky moment that she has taken. Jairus' young daughter also, Jesus puts out his hand and he touches her. And this strikes me in all 3 of these cases. Jesus has actually been Jairus asked to have hands laid on his daughter. The woman touches Jesus' garment. Jesus reaches down and takes her by the hand and raises her up from near death. These are the moments of true compassion, healing, and care. That is person to person. Touch, love, understanding of the marginalized, the desperate, the hopeless. We today are acknowledging Pride Sunday. our LGBTQ2S community in our province, in the country, and around the world have been a segment of our community that have historically been marginalized. They have been set aside. They've been treated with hostility. They've been treated with, at worst, death. It has been part of our community that has struggled and persevered to be recognized as whole, whole human beings made in God's image, just like anybody else. Anybody else that is a gift of God as a human being. We are recognizing Pride Sunday because love is love. I have a very brief story of a moment in my life that changed the way I perceive people who are gay and lesbian. About 35 years ago, a very good friend of mine named Charles and I went out to downtown Toronto. He invited me out to go for a drink in a bar downtown Toronto in the Church Street area in what they call the Village. And as the night wore on and we chatted and talked, Charles said to me, "I have something I need to tell you." And he said, "I need to tell you that I'm gay." Well, in that moment, I was stunned. I was shocked. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to behave. I had no inkling. I had no idea. And so after I got over my initial reservation, continued to talk. And I asked him at one moment, I said, "So Charles, why is it you're gay?" And he said to me, "Do you think I would choose this lifestyle? Do you think I would choose to be taunted in high school, to be heckled and to be teased, and to be ostracized by my peers and friends and colleagues?" He said, "I am gay for the same reason that a third of the population is left-handed." Well, that changed me in an instant. We as a church are called to walk along as allies, as supporters, as friends, as community members of our LGBTQ2S community, to walk beside them as equal and complete members of our church, members of the human family. We give thanks for the gifts that this community brings to us. The other part of this day that I cannot get out of my head continues to be the discovery of the 751 people in Saskatchewan in the unmarked graves. It is beyond my comprehension, and I hope most of us to really completely begin to understand how it is that we as a church behave in the manner in which we do. I know it was a different time and place, but to treat individuals, children, in such a manner is beyond comprehension. The Indian Act policy of taking the Indian out of the Indian was a policy of overt discrimination, racism, and segregation. We are shameless of our history. Our brothers and sisters in the Indigenous community have persevered. They express their vulnerabilities. They have taken risks. They have put their faith in each other and in some cases in them. They are finding a way to reclaim their heritage as people made in God's image, as we all are. I am now sitting in the space outside of our church, and that we hope will become a place of healing and reconciliation, a gathering place for our neighborhood, a place where people will come to sit, where there will be a garden of healing. It's being initiated by the grandmothers' voices of Alberta region, our Indigenous brothers and sisters who will come to provide a spot that we can remember, we can walk with our Indigenous family to reclaim and restore the truth that needs to be upheld and to be presented to everyone who will listen. We have a great opportunity here at Incarnation to be the hands, the heart, and the feet of Christ in this neighborhood. I pray that we will all support and be with us as we continue this journey towards truth and reconciliation. I am glad to be a part of such a community. We must continue this journey. We must continue to do so in faith, understanding that as we reach out with the garment of Christ who heals us, Christ will walk with us on this path to healing and wholeness for all who have been harmed by others in the community, and certainly those that have been harmed and brutalized by our church. Just before I go, I want to just give you a quick tour of what is happening here. Gardens are looking absolutely marvelous. The area has been cleared. Our caregiver of the land, Sammer, is doing an absolutely outstanding job in keeping these gardens, and all the volunteers that are helping out with our community gardens. And I hope you can see this bed of potatoes, the zucchini on that side, and across the way we have 5 beds of flourishing tomatoes, peppers, and all sorts of things. So if you have an opportunity, please make your way down here to take a look, because it's truly a gift for all to share. And I hope you're able to come and share it with your family and friends. So now what I'd like to do is introduce our next piece of music. This next piece of music was written by a country singer, a fairly prominent country singer by the name of Mickey Guyton. And she wrote this last year around the time of the murder of George Floyd, in the midst of the pandemic and the crisis of the pandemic, and all of the struggles and challenges that people were facing around the world. Is called Heaven Down Here by Mickey Guyton.